welcome at the Introverted Business Experience. This here is Ben Adler. He runs Keyword Chef, which is a Saas, but I will let him introduce himself because he's obviously better at it. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, Brent. Thank you. So I'm Ben. Currently, I run a SaaS called Keyword Chef, and it's a keyword research tool specifically for bloggers. So people who are writing a lot of articles and they need to find topics to write about that they can rank for.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I have some questions regarding that, but first of all, I want to thank you more in an elaborate way for appearing. You're my first guest on the podcast. Although I have pre-recorded some episodes, you're the first official guest, so thank you for that. You will also find out in this podcast something that you and I have in common that I know, but you don't. It's a pretty fun fact. But yeah, you actually launched my career accidentally. Yeah, you won't know this, but I will explain it to
Very
you.
interesting.
Yeah. Have you at a certain point done any SEO yourself, like agency wise? I don't know if you have.
No, not agency. All the SEO I've done is for my own niche blog websites.
Yeah. It was at a certain point, when I was starting out, because I was this broke dude, and it was a very cheap client, but at that point it was my only client, Nancy Regan. I don't know if you know her.
I might. I need to look her up.
Yeah. Out of nowhere, I get this text. Like I was still building my reputation at the time, and I get a text, "Hey Ben," and I'm like, "No, I'm Brent, but I can send you to him because at that point I already had you in my friend list." And she's like, "Oh no, I'm more than willing to hear what you offer." And then I explained to her, and she became my first client. So accidentally, you gave me my first client. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a funny story.
Yeah, yeah, that from there on, my career a lot. Like I went sky high after that because I like when you are like in this phase where you're unsure whether you're like most people fear success and they fear failure. Like you fear achieving a lot because you're not sure whether you can take it. But you also fear the failing of it. That was basically me at the time, so that helped me a great deal. So unknowns to you, you actually helped me with that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
How long ago was that?
That's like I was about 20 at the time, so I think it's 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
Wow.
it's a long time ago. I know. But yeah, I kept track of you ever since because for me, it was my first client. She's an amazing woman, by the way. Nancy, if you're listening, because she's pretty much like she's going to be listening. I know her. You're an amazing woman. Thank you for the opportunity. But yeah, this is a guy you initially want to reach out to. And just so you know, I didn't mean to steal any business. She wanted to hear me out, and that's just it.
Yeah, I don't have an agency, so
Well, yeah, that was pretty cool. But enough about me. Tell me about you. Like you made this post that I found very, very interesting. You said that you ran multiple SaaS, but this one was the one that clicked for you. Why is that?
yeah. So this is my third attempt at a SaaS and the most successful so far. My first SaaS was for like I was just trying out markets, so I went into like private investigation for like PIs, and a problem I found with them is they have to write case reports.
Yeah.
So about like insurance fraud or something.
Yeah.
And they're very long, and they have to like fill in all this information. So my idea was to create like a reporting tool that would help make the report easier for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was working with one guy, and then he kind of ghosted me. So I moved on from that. And then my second SaaS was a little widget for our car dealership websites.
Yeah.
And it would show the salespeople that worked at the dealership. So if you're a customer looking to buy a car, you can pick the salesperson that you want to work with.
That's pretty awesome.
And you can learn about their expertise, or they might speak a different language that you might feel more comfortable with, or you might want like some women want like a woman salesperson.
Yeah.
So it just helped that process easier doing sales. Um, I had a couple beta users that were trying it for free, but like I didn't know anything about car dealerships. I never worked in one. Um, all these people are salespeople. Like I had no sales experience,
Yeah.
and there's all these other vendors out there, and these
Yeah.
general managers, they're already getting like hundreds of emails and calls a day. So like, who was I to like try to pitch them
Yeah.
another little widget for the website,
Yeah.
So it was very competitive. I gave a good effort, but
Yeah.
at some point I needed to say, hey, this isn't working out. I need to try something else.
Yeah.
Um, so during that time, somewhere in there, I was building my Facebook group,
Yeah.
helping people build niche websites. And during the time, I was getting good at keyword research. So I figured, why I figured I could like automate my own keyword research process
Yeah.
into software and then sell it to my group.
That's
Um,
pretty
so
smart.
I actually went into a niche that I understood and already had an audience.
Yeah.
These other niches I went into, I didn't know anything about, and like I didn't have an audience, so like it was very difficult. So that's why I was
Um,
successful doing what I know.
And beforehand, I reached out to you to see if you had some way of cutting a deal for people that would be listening. And you said your system hasn't yet have anything for coupons integrated. Does that mean you're not doing AppSumo right now? Because I mean, AppSumo, while it like a lot of big people like Israel Gaudet and stuff, they buy their stuff on there, and it's ridiculous. Like for people that don't know this, I run multiple niche websites, like niche agencies who focus at either SEO or paid ads. But I diversify my income. So I also have e-commerces and I have some SaaS projects. And for one, I actually try to get on AppSumo and it's ridiculously easy. I'm actually approved. So some
That's
people
good.
listening might be buying from me, but all they require is literally just a lifetime deal, like of course with limited stuff that you offer, because basically it's an entry level package, but something that could benefit them. And it's an easy way to grab extra money. Have you ever thought of doing that, or isn't that in your main interest right now?
They actually didn't email me when I first launched,
Yeah.
but like the way Keyword Chef is, like at the time, like a lifetime deal or like a significant discount didn't make financial sense for me.
Yeah.
Um, just because the more someone uses the tool, the more data I need to pay for.
Yeah.
So if I give someone a lifetime deal, like who knows how much data they're going to be using
But you can
throughout the.
pretty much limit that, right? Like let's look at SEMrush, right? They have
Yeah,
this free trial that you can use SEMrush completely free, but it's severely limited. People know that. So you could like do a lifetime deal with really in-depth limitations, right?
yeah, I could do that as well. I just think from like I don't really like lifetime deals because you're
Yeah.
you're stuck with these lifetime customers. Like your product develops over time, but you still need to keep those customers happy and like work around them in terms of development. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I think it's kind of it makes your software more complicated and
Yeah.
things like that. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, I would think that in with AppSumo, the main thing, the reason that I find it such an interesting thing to actually appear on is this is a bad example, but I don't know if you know Planet Fitness.
Yeah, I know Planet Fitness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically their model is based around people that don't come to the gym, right?
that's true.
Yeah. So AppSumo basically works a bit the same. Like, yeah, a lot of people sign on for the lifetime deal. They will use it for a month, but
Yeah,
how many people really use it for the lifetime purpose, right? So yeah, I guess financially in a way I get it, and also you have to make sure that they stay happy. But how many people really keep using it. Like sure, I haven't used Keyword Chef myself because I'm more of a local SEO guy.
Mhm.
And the day that I have actually done keyword research, that's like I have process for that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really good tool for the affiliate community, and I think it's both interesting to do a lifetime deal, I would say, but as well as quite dangerous because affiliate people, they are quite committed to, yeah, committed to building niche websites. So there's a lot of data required. So I think I get where you're coming from. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Huh.
But
Awesome.
I get your point too. Like I bought Phrase a year ago for their Black Friday sale or whatever. Like I've never used it.
I get this a lot. Like I have a partner who teamed up with me on some projects recently, Rich Devman. You might know him. He's a really kind guy. But every now and then he hits me up with all kinds of tools, and he's like, "Here, I bought this," but we never use it. Like we never do. It's not useful to us. Sure, I like to dig into certain tools because I'm a developer at heart, but um, yeah, they never get used. So that's why
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Huh. Now, what made you go to do actual SaaS? Like why SaaS?
Yeah. I actually wanted to make a course first for
Yeah,
my audience.
yeah,
I thought courses were like the good thing to do where you just have to make content and then people pay a
yeah,
lot more, for it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I actually did release a course. I got a few signups, but like I realized I didn't like making courses.
yeah,
Uh, like I don't really like marketing, like in the
yeah,
I don't like making sales pages or
yeah,
and things like that. Um, I actually have a programming background, so I find programming.
so,
I know how to do it, and I find it more enjoyable.
yeah,
um, so I do what I like, basically, in
yeah,
terms of business. So I like software, so I did software. Um, I know
yeah,
for some people, if they don't have a programming background, it can be very expensive,
yeah,
or if they just don't have like, there's some very good marketers out there, but they
yeah.
can't do software.
Exactly, exactly.
So you kind of have to have the right mind for it too if you want to
Yeah,
build a software company.
yeah, exactly. In fact, I would say that as a marketeer in general, you have to know at least the basics of, let's say, Python, because that's my favorite language, by the way. I'm
Okay.
certified in Java and C++, and I enjoy C++, but I would say that Python by far is my favorite. And I
Yeah.
think that as a marketeer, you have to have basic knowledge because it helps you get data. If you want to do any basic form of web scraping, it's ridiculously easy and stuff like that. So I think as a marketeer, you have, like, that's also why I think it's getting more and more popular in the SEO sector. Like we see it more and more. Like look at Steve
Yeah.
Todd or Israel Gaudet, the entity checker. It's written in Python.
Mm.
So knowing some programming is important, but yeah, if you're not like the course maker guy, I could imagine that that's actually quite difficult, like to enjoy doing, especially if you have a programming background. I'm the same way. I don't really enjoy making courses. That said, I do like providing a lot of value. So I like when I create courses, I give them away for free because I believe in value backed marketing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something interesting to do, for Keyword Chef, is make a small course that you give away for free, and then it's free value. People see that you know your stuff. Well, obviously you know your stuff, but then they see it, and then it might be a extra trusting, good for PR as well, I believe. Huh. Yeah,
Yeah. I think further down the road, I do want to create more
yeah.
content, like whether that's a course or like tutorials or things like that. I think that's a real good idea.
Yeah, it's something to dabble in. And you said you had a software, like a programming background, right?
Yeah.
I myself, as everybody will know by now, because I mentioned it in the previous podcast, I'm a school dropout, but I am self-studying to program. programming. I've always done that. It's just my passion. Um, is it something you did in school, or is it also self-study?
Well, I started programming when I was little, maybe, I don't know, 12 years old. And then
So
I stopped. And then I got back into it. I went to school for college. In college, I took 2 years of programming and got my associates.
oh, cool.
And then later on, I got my my first programming job. So that,
Amazing.
yeah, I actually got fired from my first job because I didn't know anything about programming.
uh, when I started, and I also started as a 12-year-old, I started with HTML, so
Yep.
I didn't really know any other programming languages. I just knew HTML. And I remember that I wrote this basic title and I put the background in red. And as proud as I am, because I just created something, I sent the URL, the like where it's actually the file path. I sent that to my older brother and I go like, do you see what I made? It's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I have had the slightest clue of what I was doing. But yeah, I enjoy programming. It's a fun thing to do.
Mhm.
Why did you end up doing niche websites then though? Like that's a big leap. Yeah.
Yeah. So during my programming job, I didn't know anything about making money online. So, I was browsing through Reddit one day looking for ideas,
Yeah.
and then I found someone with a niche website talking about vacuum cleaners, and they said they were making $500 a month, and they actually shared their website. So I looked at the website, and as a programmer, I knew how to make like
Yeah.
websites. I didn't find the website to be very good, so I was like, "Wow, this must be easy."
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about SEO or keywords
Yeah.
or anything. Um, but I found a niche and I just reviewed
Yeah.
every single product in my niche, and like there was no competition for that niche at the time I found. So I kind of got lucky. So I that was my first successful website.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
and then I started building a few more, and then I learned about like ads and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so that's the affiliate model I like now. Instead of review websites, I enjoy writing more like content-based websites around questions and things like that.
Yeah. You said that was your first successful website. Like, could you define what success means to you? Like, when it comes to a website, how do you like? Is it earning based or is it system based? Like, how would you say what does success mean for you?
Making money. So that was my goal when I made the website, was to make money from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
The other websites I tried, like they didn't make anything. So
It's funny because I also started out with affiliate websites, and
yeah,
actually I have to thank this really cool guy, Christopher Fishback. If you're listening, you're amazing. Also one of my first mentors. At the time, I was so broke that I was doing blog spots. So I wrote 2K words every day, trying to target long tail keywords, which is funny because they actually went viral. Both my blog spots went viral in Belgium because I wrote Dutch content, but they went viral because some really big groups shared them and they start ranking. But obviously, the earning potential was limited. And then this cool guy out of nowhere, he comes like, yeah, what do you need to start ranking? And he offers me a free domain and offers me
yeah,
free hosting. And on top of that, he was teaching me SEO. So he like it's then that I realized, because a lot of people they overcomplicate SEO, but if we look at the macros, like content and backlinks, in the end, like SEO is a very simple principle. A lot of people just they confuse how what makes an expert is they're really good at the micro stuff. Like look at
right,
Chris Labat. He absolutely kicks ass at schema. That's great. That's absolutely important. Brock Meisner, he focuses really good at on GBP micro stuff. But the macros of SEO alone, if you master those, which are ridiculously easy, then you can get quite far. And I remember when I made my first buck, because this was my first 100 a month website. It was ridiculous. I was so proud. Um, I remember telling one of my mentors, like, this shit is so easy. When I made my first backlink, it's ridiculously easy to get started. It's just, it's very intimidating, you know, to start your first website if it's everything you got, you know, like, how would you say you face that? Because obviously you came from a programming job, right? Like,
Yeah.
what were the biggest pitfalls you experienced doing that?
With my successful website, I just like my strong point for me is like being able to research and write good articles, like
Yeah,
which I think is a huge advantage with people hiring writers and
yeah,
AI content. Well, AI content is getting pretty good now,
yeah,
but but when I research something, I might spend an entire day just researching, you know,
yeah.
and not writing. So that's how much research I do.
Awesome.
And for a single article, it might take me a few days,
Yeah,
but the articles are really good.
yeah,
So I think like having a really good articles alone is like
yeah,
what helps me personally. Um, I don't like building backlinks, so that's why
yeah,
I go after low competition keywords
yeah.
where I don't have to deal with the backlinks. Um, I let other people, I'll let other people play that backlink game. You know,
Yeah, I
I just
would say,
focus on what I'm good at, you know, which is
yeah, exactly, as
content.
you should. You know, like, is so underrated. Because backlinks is like what people focus on. Like I mentioned it as well a couple of times. It's not that I think content is really important, especially it's getting more and more important. But you said AI content is getting pretty good, which is very true. Are you using any AI content? Like, how do you use it? Is there anything you could give as a piece of advice?
I haven't used it myself. I actually haven't really published on my blogs in a long
Yeah,
time since I've been focused on my
yeah,
software.
yeah, obviously. Yeah,
But just from like the samples I've seen online, like in Facebook groups and stuff, like I'm very impressed about what it can do. Um, if anything, I think people should use it as a tool. I think they should fact check
yeah,
the data, um, and maybe try to add in some personal experiences where they can.
yeah.
So,
I think AI at the moment it's at a point where it can create nice pieces of content, but it's something that you still like. I'm going to be blatantly honest here. I have writers in house, but most of my content is actually automatically created. So I have a script that creates the content, spins the content, and then I have a guy who runs it through Grammarly and checks if it reads nice, right? So
mhm.
my content process is really fast, but I also work with a lot of local SEO companies. So yeah, it's not that I'm talking about the best vacuum cleaner, you know, I'm talking about their
Right.
service. So I just have to personalize it. I would say that AI content is in the uprise, but I still think you need somebody to check it, you know, proofread it in the sense of, does it actually make sense? And if it does, then yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of that in the coming years. I think it's getting more and more popular. It's really nice. Now, you said that Keyword Chef is mainly for people running blogs, right? What
Yeah.
makes Keyword Chef so good at that? You know, like we have plenty of tools. Why Keyword Chef? If you would be somebody from the outside, why would you pick Keyword Chef over Ahrefs or SEMrush? Why?
Yeah. So I would say that Keyword Chef does two things really well. Um, First, it finds a lot of like long tail keywords
Yeah,
that might not exist in other keyword databases.
awesome.
And then second, you know, with other tools, you might get like a keyword difficulty score,
Yeah,
and you don't really know how it's like
yeah,
determined or even what the SERP is like for that keyword.
exactly. Yeah,
What Keyword Chef does is it looks at the top 10 search results and it will tell you how many easy to outrank websites are on that first page result. So
awesome.
these are usually like user generated content like Reddit or Quora, um,
Yeah,
forums, and also things like free blog websites. Um, because if someone has like a blog spot, chances are they're not very good at SEO.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So, you know, I have a whole bunch of easy websites I look at,
Yeah,
and If there's 4 of these easy websites ranking on the first page for a keyword, I'll give you a score of 4. And you can actually see all the links ranking without ever going to Google.
Awesome.
So instead of going back to Google for every single keyword, Keyword Chef can analyze thousands of keywords at once. So you can do this work manually, but it just saves you a ton of time. So that's the real thing about Keyword Chef, is like the time savings.
Like, I think the very cool part about Keyword Chef is something you mentioned in the beginning, is you started it to automate your keyword research process, and you're already successful at niche websites. So I think the big issue with a lot of SaaS is the lack of, is it actually working? Is it gonna book me results? Because with Ahrefs, there's a learning curve for beginners, right? There is, like, what does AR and UR mean? Like, what are all the metrics? And I think a lot of people get too hung up on the metrics. In your case, well, we've already seen, like, people that work with Keyword Chef, they already know that it works, the process works, right? So keyword research, I think that's the really cool part about it, especially because you're focusing on long tails, as you're not a backlink building guy.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the really cool part about it, because I think it's Russell Lobo. I don't know if you know this guy.
I don't think so.
But I think he was the first one that actually referred Keyword Chef to me. He likes to implement the golden keyword ratio from Doug Cunnington, but he adapts it a bit to keyword tools. So yeah, I always thought that was very fascinating, because we don't see that necessarily with Ahrefs or any other tool. While they are great, and obviously they have other useful stuff too, because you can check backlink profiles and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's already proven it's something you do. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Huh.
Yeah, so it basically solves a specific problem really well. So I think that's like what sets Keyword Chef apart in like the keyword marketplace.
Now, imagine if I'm a beginning SEO, right? Like, I have a tight budget. I'm investing my budget in Keyword Chef. Would you say that it's a smarter thing to invest in Keyword Chef than, like, or would you recommend me to do something else with that money? Like, are there any tools that could benefit me better, or would you say if I want to make money in the next 6 months, I could do that very well with Keyword Chef if I understand on-page optimization very good, right? Because obviously proper SEO is still required. Yeah. Would you say it's a good investment?
Depends on how good your keyword research skills are, because I tell people before they buy any tool, they should understand like keywords and competition analysis. Like, if you don't understand those things first, then Keyword Chef might be a waste of money if you don't know how to use it. So like, some people might type in like best laptop, an extremely competitive keyword, right? Phrase.
Exactly.
So all those keywords are probably taken up.
Yeah.
So if you type that in, you might be disappointed because you might be expecting to find a lot of easy keywords for that search term.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna contradict you for a bit, because I think it's actually a good investment. Because for people listening, if you invest in a tool like Keyword Chef, I personally think it's an extremely good investment, because keyword research is what it's at. Like, before you do backlink building, before you do anything fancy and focus on the macros, as I said, the macros is where it's at. And you can book significant results with content already, but don't be overly ambitious if you don't have the budget. Don't go for best laptop. You still have to know what you're targeting. Now, so I think Keyword Chef is a really good investment in that sense. But what I would personally recommend, or what would be really cool, is if you would actually have some videos, which might be some, like, as you said, something you're looking to create, where you actually show how to use Keyword Chef in a way that it actually makes sense, teach people a bit of keyword research. Because I mean, it's a concept that a lot of people say they understand, but in a lot of cases they don't. They're so overly ambitious because they focus on the keyword difficulty metrics, which I think are a bit flawed. So yeah, having actual videos on that, on how your tool could help them and how to use it in a way that it actually makes sense, because it's ridiculously difficult for people with no idea about data or just not data people to translate data into an actionable strategy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there needs to be some education. Like,
exactly.
you can't just jump in for any tool. You can't
Yeah.
jump in if you don't know what you're doing.
But I mean, if you would provide some guidance on that, I think that would
Yeah,
open up the beginner market significantly for Keyword Chef.
yeah, I think so too.
I mean, that's a big issue right now. I would say is the lack of education in the industry, and there's plenty of great material out there. Like look at Matt Diggity, the lab. I love the lab.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Craig even gives away free courses to beginners. So there are courses, but I think it would be really cool to see some educational videos on specifically keyword research and how you can utilize it for niche websites, but then made for free. You know, I think, yeah, the value alone is insane. I would definitely watch it. So, I think
good.
that's a good idea. Now, Keyword Chef is obviously your more successful SaaS project, as you said. Are there any feature updates that you're planning, or is it like how does the next 3 years look for Keyword Chef?
Yeah, I don't know about the next 3 years, but things we're working on is providing monthly subscriptions. So this is an opportunity for people to get credits at a lower price if they pay monthly. And if they just want to cancel after 1 month, they can do that too. And then I want to add like more competition metrics. And then I want to introduce like brand new tools for like niche research
Yeah,
that don't quite exist yet, I don't think. So it should be a lot of exciting things ahead.
yeah, it looks exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. As a business person yourself, like Keyword Chef is a really fascinating project. You have niche websites. Is there anything else you're planning that you would say is remarkably exciting to you?
Not at the moment. Keyword Chef is my main focus at the moment.
Yeah,
Um, I do like the idea of having like multiple sources of income. So
yeah,
maybe further down the road, like another small tool would be
yeah.
cool, I think.
Yeah,
Something simple that's really passive. I think that works really well. Um,
yeah, something I have seen working in an industry where I have an agency. And it's funny because a lot of people hate these guys, but I think it's actually genius. They use Go High Level, but you can white label Go High Level, right?
yeah.
And all they sell is like this little coupon widget you can put on your website, which is also something you can buy on Code Canyon. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say Code Academy. Code Canyon, yeah. If you go to Code Canyon, you can actually buy social proof, which is just pop-ups that pop up with certain intervals. And all they do is sell that pop-up with a basic follow-up feed, on Go High Level, and they sell that for like 100 a month, and they are ridiculously successful with that, because a lot of these, like, this is an industry where there's virtually like ranking is as easy as changing the title tag, like it's so damn easy. um but yeah, a lot of people are paying like 100 a month just for this stupid widget. And they try to replicate it, and they like,
Yeah.
obviously a guy came to me, but while he is replicating it, it's still not having the same success because they were first and they're actually continuously developing the tool.
Hmm.
But in reality, they didn't really develop anything themselves. So I would say SaaS is really cool if you find easy market like that. I think that's a genius idea what they did, especially because like it didn't require any code for them. How many people can be that lucky?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Something small like Proof is a good example, I think.
Yeah,
There might be a lot of copycats now out
yeah,
there.
yeah. Oh, that's definitely, you know, a lot of people they just buy stuff on Code Canyon because you can buy SaaS, like on Code Canyon. The thing is, if you're not custom making it, you're gonna find too many people with the same features, and if you don't have the budget to compete with other companies, then you probably should be relying on the features, on solving an issue. I think a lot of people they focus too little on solving a problem. And if you solve a problem, there's urgency for people to actually buy it. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, they have a lot of copycats. I also think their main issue with that is that um, they have so much overhead in customer support because it's like with SaaS, you obviously need customer support.
Yeah.
Um, their failure is that they don't educate their people. So as a result, a lot of people they don't know what the data is that they are providing, or all they see is people reaching out to them, but they don't know how to reply. So I would say if you do a SaaS, customer support is amazing. Actually, it's written in a book that I like. Is customer support is the background of like the backbone of a SaaS. I would say in a lot of cases, good customer support. Yeah.
Yeah, customer support is huge. Like I was talking to someone else about this the other day. It's like if someone submits a support request, that's like your one opportunity to like help solve that user's problem, like and make them happy again.
Yeah, exactly.
So like a good customer service is like marketing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
a lot of times it's easy to make customers happy. So like it's a no-brainer for me.
No, I mean, Nixon Lee actually said something very funny about that. Today, I don't know if you know Nixon Lee. He's Spine PR guy. He's actually quite huge in the press release business. Um, but he said that Amazon requires every employee to do at least 2 days of customer support every 2 years, so that they get an idea of the importance of it. I think that's really genius. Like customer support is where it's at because in a lot of cases people are going to catch up on the features. Like and the features alone often aren't enough. If you have amazing software but the support isn't there, people are going to hook up anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, especially nowadays, like sometimes you have to be on hold for an hour if you call a company, but like so like there people know what it feels like to be like frustrated with customer support.
Yeah,
So if you offer like a good experience for them, like that's refreshing for them.
exactly.
Yeah.
And would you say that's something you're doubling down on the customer support?
Um. Well, every support request that comes in, I try to see how like I can prevent that request from happening again in the
Yeah,
future. So like if something isn't clear on the website and someone emails me, about a question, I'll answer that question,
yeah.
and then I'll also update the website to make it more clear.
That's
So
pretty cool. Yeah,
people don't keep asking me the same question over and over. So over time, I've gotten my support requests down to like very little.
yeah,
So like that should be the goal. It's like a good product should like reduce customer support requests as well.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for SaaS, the really cool thing about customer support is basically something you actually mentioned already. It helps you evolve your tool. Like it helps you develop and make your tool more clear to the people. I think that's
Yeah.
the really cool part about customer support. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know how other companies operate, but if your customer support is operating in their own department and they're not talking to other departments.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the product development needs to know what the customer support is dealing with, so they can solve those problems better in their product.
Yeah, exactly. In
Yeah.
fact, like I read a lot of business books because I believe that reading is, you know, one of the quickest ways to educate yourself. Um, and recently I read this book, roughly translated. It's basically saying Amazon Unchained, right? It
Okay.
was about Amazon, about Jeff Bezos, and they actually described how he ran his customer support with pure tyranny. And the reason they say that is because he is so strict on customer support. It's ridiculous. Like he actually got mad, especially in the beginning when people would like make a mistake with packaging, or stuff like that. If something didn't go well or questions of people weren't answered correctly, he would actually get mad because he found that to be so important. And it's true. Like if you look at Amazon, you can say what you want, but their customer support is spotless, I would say, except if you try Seller Central, because I sell a lot on Amazon. It's absolute garbage. But all the rest, yeah, I would say that's really big. That's what I would say that sets you apart from, well, from beginners. You know, it's customer support, especially. It's like you said, people need to communicate, and I like it to have this fat like in my agencies, because I I outsource customer support on my Saas. It's not my main thing, and I'm actually not that interested in it side residual income. But in my agency, everybody has access to all the data in every agency of mine. The reason being is that not only does it allow for great ideas to come from people at the bottom of the hierarchy, um, it also allows me to communicate way faster with clients because I do all the communication myself. You know, I find that very important that people are talking to me personally. That's not always feasible because, you know, it's not that scalable. But yeah, are you doing all your customer supports yourself right now, or are you outsourcing it?
Yeah, I do everything myself: programming, marketing,
Holy
Facebook.
shit! Even program
Or
like even
yeah,
programming, you do
yeah,
like, yeah. Well, I know you have a programming background, but I didn't know that you created the whole tool yourself. Yeah,
yeah. I created the whole thing. I ended up having two part-time programmers for a little while, um, but they both moved on. Um, so I'm glad to have the help when I did. So right now it's just me. Um, it's good and bad because I know the system very well because I programmed it.
yeah,
So I'm able to like build things a lot quicker sometimes.
yeah,
Um, but the downside is like, you know, I might get burned out, you know,
yeah,
or something, or there might be a few things I don't know very well that I need extra help on.
yeah.
Um, so there's pros and cons to doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Um, I also save a lot of money, so
exactly,
not,
exactly.
not hiring a programmer.
Now, are you doing any active advertisement, or is all your people, like all your customers, coming from your group?
So I don't, I've never spent money on ads, so it's all organic, word of mouth. Um, I have some affiliates that promote me, and just like being on podcasts like this one helps. Um, so it's just all organic,
Yeah,
and just like what marketing is to me is just helping people.
yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah,
you know, I like to be in communication, just be part of the community is what I
yeah,
say. Um,
yeah,
and if you help a lot of people, you know, people will start to recognize you more.
yeah, definitely,
And
definitely.
in my opinion, that's like an easy way for a lot of people to start growing their business. It's just like
Yeah.
join communities and start helping people.
Exactly. It's actually really funny that you say that, because I coach a lot of beginners, you know, like if I see potential in somebody, I'm going to help them out. And first thing I say, because it's how I grew, you know, just join groups and start helping, you know,
Yep.
because not only will it educate you more, because if you will actually try to help somebody and you have to dig into information to answer the question correctly, you will learn more in general, but also people are going to see you. And if you're genuinely somebody who likes helping, it doesn't matter who you are, eventually that spark is going to burn. People are going to catch on. So yeah, I love that. But in the
I
end, are
agree.
you planning to do any Google ads or any Facebook ads? Because I would say if you already have such a big flow of customers, like your groups, you're already a prominent name with Facebook Pixel and a good, remarketing strategy, you could have you could be banking right now, right? Obviously, it's not all about money, but
Yeah, I think down the road when I get like the subscriptions fully rolled out.
yeah, obviously, yeah.
Right now we have a few users, but they're like, it's like private access right now. So
Yeah,
once the monthly subscriptions become public and I start adding more
yeah,
features, maybe update the landing page,
yeah,
um, then I can maybe do ads once I have like a good
yeah, obviously, yeah, yeah.
system running. But I think that's something to look into for sure down the road.
Oh, it looks like a very interesting project. It's at least something I am very fascinated about. And I think there are some people that I know are looking at Keyword Chef. So yeah, a lot of people are interested in it. So yeah, we're all very um, excited to see what's coming from it. Uh, at least I am very very excited about it.
Thanks.
Now we're running out of time, so I want to thank you elaborately. Thank you so much to hop on the podcast. It means the world to me. You're my first actual guest. You will be the first episode, so thank you.
Cool.
Is there anything you would like to tell people, like any plug?
If you have questions, I'm like always available on Facebook or just email me at ben@keywordchef.com. But I like helping people. So
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's gonna get you a far way. It at least helped me a lot. So I would say for people reading, if you're a beginning digital marketer, a SaaS owner, or whatever it is you do, if you help people and you forget the numbers, forget money for a brief moment, forget all that and just start helping people, the ROI is gonna come, whether it's gonna come in money or in a shout out. Like the first things I got of helping people were shout outs from very well-known people at the time. You gotta help people, be genuine about it, don't expect anything in return, just help. I think that's if this says anything that you should do is start joining groups and start helping out. It's very important.
completely agree.
Awesome, thank you for appearing, man.